When dealing with outdoor hot tub installations, the question of whether low-voltage lighting wiring must be run in conduit all the way back to the service panel is an important one. The answer is yes, conduit is required. The reason for this lies in ensuring safety and compliance with electrical codes. Electrical codes, such as the National Electrical Code, often have specific requirements for wiring in or near water, as well as for outdoor installations where wiring may be exposed to physical damage or environmental factors. Conduit provides a protective barrier for the wiring, shielding it from potential damage from things like weather, impact, or rodents. It also offers a degree of protection against electrical shock in the event of a fault. For hot tubs, which are obviously located near water and often outdoors, these considerations are paramount. The use of conduit helps to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and ensures that the installation meets the required safety standards. Low voltage lighting, while operating at a lower voltage than standard household circuits, still carries a risk if the wiring is compromised. The lower voltage does not eliminate the potential for electrical shock, especially when water is involved. Additionally, any faults in the low voltage circuit could potentially affect the main power supply to the hot tub, creating a more serious hazard. There are different types of conduit that can be used for this purpose, such as rigid metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, or rigid non-metallic conduit. The choice of conduit type may depend on local codes, the specific installation environment, and personal preference. However, regardless of the type of conduit used, it is essential that it is properly installed and grounded, in accordance with the electrical code. This includes using appropriate fittings and connectors and ensuring that the conduit is securely supported and protected from damage. In some cases, there may be exceptions to the requirement for conduit, such as when using direct burial cable that is specifically listed for that purpose. However, these exceptions are typically limited to specific types of wiring and installations, and it is always best to check with a qualified electrician or local electrical inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. The requirement for conduit also extends to the grounding and bonding of the hot tub and its associated electrical equipment. Grounding and bonding are critical for preventing electrical shock hazards and ensuring that the electrical system is properly protected. The conduit itself can serve as a grounding conductor, provided that it is properly connected to the grounding system. In addition to the safety benefits, using conduit can also help to protect the wiring from environmental factors such as moisture, sunlight, and temperature extremes. These factors can degrade the insulation and the wiring over time, leading to potential electrical problems. Conduit provides a physical barrier that helps to extend the life of the wiring and reduce the need for maintenance or repairs. When installing the conduit, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations, as well as the manufacturer's instructions. This includes ensuring that the conduit is properly sized for the wiring being installed, and that it is supported at the correct intervals. It is also important to avoid sharp bends or kinks in the conduit, as these can make it difficult to pull the wiring through. The use of pull boxes or junction boxes may be necessary in some cases to facilitate the installation of the wiring. These boxes provide access to the wiring for making connections or for pulling the wiring through long runs of conduit. All electrical work should be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the applicable codes and regulations. Attempting to perform electrical work without the proper training and experience can be dangerous and can lead to serious injury or property damage. It is also important to obtain all necessary permits and inspections before beginning any electrical work. This will ensure that the installation meets the required safety standards and that it is in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, the wiring for an outdoor hot tub with low voltage lights must be in conduit all the way back to the service panel to ensure safety and compliance with electrical codes. Conduit provides a protective barrier for the wiring, shielding it from potential damage and reducing the risk of electrical hazards. It is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations and to have the work performed by a qualified electrician. By taking these precautions, you can ensure that your hot tub installation is safe, reliable, and in compliance with all applicable requirements. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, plays a crucial role in establishing safety standards for electrical installations, including those involving hot tubs and their associated lighting. The NEC is a comprehensive set of guidelines and regulations designed to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and ensure the safe operation of electrical systems. It is updated regularly to reflect advancements in technology and changes in industry best practices. Article 680 of the NEC specifically addresses the requirements for swimming pools, hot tubs, and spas. This article covers a wide range of topics, including bonding, grounding, wiring methods, and equipment location. It is essential to consult Article 680 when planning and installing any electrical equipment associated with a hot tub. One of the key requirements of Article 680 is the bonding of all metal parts of the hot tub and its surrounding area. Bonding involves connecting all metal parts together to create a common electrical potential. This helps to prevent electrical shock hazards by ensuring that there are no voltage differences between the metal parts. The bonding requirements apply to metal parts of the hot tub itself, as well as any metal fences, ladders, or other structures that are within a certain distance of the hot tub. The NEC also specifies the types of wiring methods that are permitted for use in and around hot tubs. As mentioned previously, conduit is generally required for wiring that is exposed to physical damage or that is located near water. The NEC also specifies the types of conductors that can be used, as well as the ampacity requirements for the wiring. Ampacity refers to the current carrying capacity of a conductor. It is important to select conductors that are properly sized for the load they will be carrying to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. The NEC also addresses the location of electrical equipment in relation to hot tubs. It specifies minimum distances that electrical equipment must be located from the hot tub to prevent accidental contact with water. For example, receptacles must be located at least 10 feet away from the inside wall of the hot tub, unless they are GFCI protected and are located closer than 10 feet but not less than 5 feet. GFCI stands for Ground Fault Circuit Interrupter. A GFCI is a device that detects ground faults, which are electrical leaks to ground. When a ground fault is detected, the GFCI quickly interrupts the circuit, preventing electrical shock. GFCI protection is required for all receptacles that are located within a certain distance of a hot tub. In addition to receptacles, the NEC also addresses the location of lighting fixtures in relation to hot tubs. Lighting fixtures must be located at least 12 feet above the maximum water level of the hot tub, unless they are specifically designed for use in wet locations. Wet location lighting fixtures are designed to withstand exposure to water and moisture. The NEC also covers the requirements for underwater lighting in hot tubs. Underwater lighting fixtures must be specifically listed for that purpose and must be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. They must also be supplied by a low-voltage transformer that is located outside of the hot tub area. The use of low-voltage transformers helps to reduce the risk of electrical shock in the event of a fault in the underwater lighting circuit. The NEC also addresses the requirements for disconnecting means for hot tubs. A disconnecting means is a switch or circuit breaker that can be used to disconnect power to the hot tub. The disconnecting means must be readily accessible and must be located within sight of the hot tub. This allows someone to quickly disconnect power to the hot tub in the event of an emergency. The NEC also specifies the requirements for the electrical panel that supplies power to the hot tub. The electrical panel must be located in a dry location and must be protected from physical damage. It must also be properly grounded and bonded. In addition to the NEC, local codes and regulations may also apply to hot tub installations. It is important to check with your local building department or electrical inspector to determine the specific requirements in your area. Local codes may be more stringent than the NEC in some cases, so it is always best to comply with the most restrictive requirements. When planning a hot tub installation, it is important to consider all of the electrical requirements and to ensure that the installation is performed by a qualified electrician. A qualified electrician will be familiar with the NEC and local codes and will be able to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. It is also important to obtain all necessary permits and inspections before beginning any electrical work. This will help to ensure that the installation meets the required safety standards and that it is in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Ignoring the electrical requirements for hot tubs can have serious consequences, including electrical shock, fire, and property damage. It is always best to err on the side of caution and to ensure that the installation is performed correctly. By following the NEC and local codes, you can help to ensure that your hot tub is safe and enjoyable for years to come. In addition to the requirements discussed above, there are a few other considerations that are important to keep in mind when installing electrical equipment for a hot tub. Firstly, it is important to use only listed and labeled equipment. Listed and labeled equipment has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory to meet certain safety standards. Using listed and labeled equipment helps to ensure that the equipment is safe and reliable. Secondly, it is important to protect electrical equipment from physical damage. This can be done by installing the equipment in a protected location, such as inside a weatherproof enclosure. It is also important to avoid running wiring in areas where it could be easily damaged, such as underfoot or near sharp objects. Thirdly, it is important to regularly inspect electrical equipment for signs of damage or wear. This includes checking for cracked or broken insulation, loose connections, and corrosion. If any damage is found, the equipment should be repaired or replaced immediately. Finally, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions when installing and maintaining electrical equipment. The manufacturer's instructions will provide specific information about the proper installation and maintenance of the equipment. Following the manufacturer's instructions will help to ensure that the equipment is safe and reliable. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that your hot tub electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations.